And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom, boom.
He is Jalen versus everybody.
What up, y'all?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in, center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new stuff.
We're Jalen and Jacoby. What do we do?
We get the people what they want.
The internet was ablaze when Kawhi Leonard, newly acquired Kawhi Leonard, was introduced as a Toronto Raptor. It wasn't the look of him in the uniform. It was the sound of him laughing.
I'm a fun guy.
Jalen. Is Kawhi Leonard a basketball robot? Just I'm gonna straight up ask the question.
He's a drone. He laughed like an 85-year-old man. But the thing I like, and he committed one of those things I always pay attention to when people try to backhand compliment themselves. When you're like, I'm a fun guy. Like,
Thank you.
Hey, Kawhi, it's okay. We know that your stoic demeanor is what drives your personality. You're a terrific basketball player. We understand that that's your character. You don't have to try to sell us on like you the next Kevin Hart or something like that.
Yeah, for real. It's like Kawhi. I think you know what's even weirder than the laugh is him saying, "I'm a fun guy." It's like I'm a fun guy. It's kind of like smart people never tell you how smart they are. It's like Kawhi, when you're a fun person, you don't have to sit around and say, "I'm a fun guy." And the laugh was just so awkward. It was just like it just felt weird to watch. Now let's get serious about this thing for a second. Now, we saw the Celtics and what they looked like on Media Day. They have also, like the Warriors, an impressive starting five to put together. Can the Raptors challenge the Celtics in the Eastern Conference?
Stay tuned. I'm not going to judge the Raptors roster just yet because I know there's a player named Jimmy Butler out there that wants to get moved. And if I'm Masai Ujiri, I'm trying to get him in uniform for the team that was the number one seed in the Eastern Conference last year. Something like that now makes the conversation versus the Boston Celtics more valid. Other than that, I clearly see the Boston Celtics as the favorite to win that conference, as do most civil human beings.
Interesting. I mean, Masai Ujiri has done impressive things in the past, most notably moving DeMar DeRozan, the best player in the team, for Kawhi Leonard, who we just saw do a robot laugh on television. But bringing in Jimmy Butler would make them Lowry, Butler, Leonard, Valanciunas, mix in some of that young, deep bench that they have. That could be impressive, and they could probably ship out a bunch of those young players to Minnesota in sort of a mini rebuild type of a thing.
Absolutely.
Interesting, Jay.
They also have Serge Ibaka up front, but you know you got to give up parts to get parts when you're talking about acquiring an all-star level player like Jimmy Butler. And Kawhi's laugh, I'm glad you went back to it, and you guys are questioning whether he's a robot. It's almost like when I hear people talk about how real they are. It's like, let somebody else say that you're a nice guy. Let somebody else say that you're a real guy. Don't you tell us how real you are.
I have to constantly remind myself not to tell people how intelligent I am. Just constantly remind myself not to tell people. Well, you mentioned Jimmy Butler, and Tom Thibodeau's still trying to make this relationship work. You know, it kind of reminds me of a romantic relationship. Like one person's just out, and the other person's just like still trying to hold on and remember the good times and send flowers and everything. Apparently, Tom Thibodeau met with Jimmy Butler yesterday, not last Monday, yesterday, in an attempt to sort of rekindle the relationship and lure Jimmy Butler back to Minnesota to come to training camp and rejoin the team and just sort of see what happens. What do you think about Thibodeau's attempt to sort of rekindle this basketball relationship?
I'm not mad at it at all. And this basically shows how the president of basketball operations, whose job is to salvage the situation right now for a basketball team, analyze, can the team win today, and project what the team is going to do in the future, versus the head coach, whose job is to win every practice, every preseason game, every regular season game. And for Tibbs, it's already basically on wax by the owner and Jimmy Butler that he's not going to sign an extension there. So what Tibbs is trying to do is recreate the value for Jimmy Butler that got ruined when the player and the owner both come out and not only say that he doesn't want to be there, but Jimmy gives a Monday timeline The owner gives a Tuesday timeline. Both of those timelines are going to pass while you try to survey the landscape of the league and actually get a quality deal for them.
I totally agree, because if you're Tibbs and you're looking at the potential deals out there, there's no just obvious like, oh, this for that. Like when you remember Kevin Love got traded by the Timberwolves to the Cavs, it was like, all right, we'll give you Wiggins, #1 pick, young star, and you will give you Love, established all-star. But there's nothing out there in everything that I've read where you kind of get this all-star for all-star exchange where Thibodeau can still look at his roster and say, we can contend for like a 5 seed and maybe make a run in the playoffs with this roster. Everything that I've heard about has been these 3 players for Jimmy Butler, and this contract makes it work, and we'll throw in Gorgie Dang or whatever. So if you're Thibodeau, you're looking at your team saying, I want to win this year. His best chance to win this year is to go with Jimmy Butler on your team, and something tells me that's just not going to be the case. Like, I do feel like he's just pulling at strings here. Is there any chance Jimmy Butler wears a Timberwolves uniform in a preseason game this year?
Not in a preseason game, because he won't necessarily get fined for doing so. There's ways around it. You can talk about being injured, and the team could just hold you out. Like the owner basically held him out of the media day. But when you talk about the big deals that Minnesota has made, and you use the relationship analogy, they're almost like the person that was in the closet that helped other people succeed. When you think about Kevin Garnett getting traded by Kevin McHale and his good buddy Danny Ainge to the Boston Celtics to create a big 3. Or as you alluded to, Kevin Love being traded to the Cavs for LeBron along with Kyrie to create another big 3. So it's worked against the Timberwolves in doing deals for their all-star level players, but also it can't be an accident to people that soon as Jimmy Butler came out and said he doesn't want to be there, the owner and Karl Anthony Towns immediately signed a Supermax deal. So it ain't no turning back. It's already on wax.
I thought Karl Anthony Towns would be refreshing Woj's Twitter, just waiting for a deal to be made before he signed. But he was like, you know what? We're close enough. The owner told me that he's gone. I'm just going to sign right now. I love it so much. Well, we've seen all those different sets of photos from Media Day, like the ones that you mentioned. And you mentioned this one specifically from the Lakers. The Lakers posted this photo, and Lance Stevenson posted as well, of their new acquisitions, Rondo, and then you've got Beasley and JaVale and my guy Lance. And King James, he came up with this name, Mud. Misunderstood, underappreciated, determined. Jalen, I think King James himself would even admit that this is a terrible nickname for this group of players. Mud doesn't sound good, and also underappreciated. Rondo's like, yo, I'm going to the Hall of Fame. Like, what do you mean underappreciated? What do you think about LeBron James calling this group Mud?
Well, first off, Mud isn't attractive, period. So nobody wants to be attributed to that term. Now, when you talk about some accomplished veterans that have created some level of turmoil, some self-inflicted throughout their careers, but still productive players, I understand that every bench wants to have a nickname, and it's become in vogue to try to do so because since you're not a starter, you want to let people know that you're just as important. I'll say allow them to earn a nickname based on the way they perform instead of try to give them one.
Yep, because with those 4 players, you never know. They might not all make it to the end of the season in a Lakers uniform.
Hola, Oladipo!
I watch like the same 4 or 5 movies all the time before I go to sleep. So it's like Home Alone 2, Shrek, Mulan, and I might throw in something different on the 5th one. But those 4 are my main right before I go to sleep. And when I'm at home, I eat noodles and company before every game. And I get the same exact name every game.
Like, what? Jalen, there's a lot to unpack there. Okay, there's a lot to unpack. But the first thing I want to ask you, as a dude who watches the same episode of Power 17 times in a row, how can this man watch these movies over and over and over every night before bed?
I tried to tell you this multiple times. People listen to the same record, the same
That's
CD,
different.
the same song.
That's different.
So very often. People can perform the same record that they had 20 years ago and people still pay to go actually watch them perform. I understand where he's coming from.
You do.
Shout to Naptown, big up to Victor Oladipo.
Okay.
However, I must say this. There's a reason why he watching Home Alone, Shrek, and Mulan before bed. I'm already tired thinking about those movies.
No, I guess so. I mean, here's the thing is, Jalen, like, I understand some people listen to the same song over and over, but you get to a certain point where you can't listen to it anymore. These are also children's movies. These are movies for children. Like Shrek, an animated film, after you've seen it twice, what could you possibly get from the 7,000th viewing of Shrek? Mulan, I understand the story. Great story. I watched it once in theaters when it came out. But, like, if I saw that movie 45 times, I mean, I guess it puts him to sleep. It's just crazy to me that is his list of movies. Like, his top 5 Dead or Alive films, 2 are Home Alones, 2 are kind of like semi-obscure animated features. I'm shocked by this. Absolutely shocked, Jalen. I just don't know what to do, but I think this definitely means that he's going to be MVP of the league next year.
He's not married. He doesn't have kids. Shrek isn't a scary movie. And you saw Mulan where?
I saw Mulan in theaters.
What? Oh,
excellent film. Excellent film. You have no idea what Mulan's about. Go ahead, tell me what Mulan's about.
Mulan is about getting paper. Mulan with an N.
You're the best. This is another thing is, Jalen, this might be regional. I had to Google what Noodles and Company is. Do you know what Noodles and Company is?
I don't know what Noodles and Company is.
I had no idea either. I thought maybe it was an Indianapolis thing. Apparently, it's like some sort of like make your own noodle bowl thing. But you know what? I'm ready to try some noodles.
But I can't front. I done ate a lot of noodles between college and the league, getting them at gas stations. It's really great munchies food late at night after 11 p.m. for sure.
Yep, medicinal.
Moving on. The Warriors had their media day, and they really just physically showed us all what this potential starting 5 would look like. Look at this picture of this potential starting 5. This is a NBA basketball team. Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson with hair and a beard, and DeMarcus Cousins, who also goes by the name of Jalen. I'm going to go ahead and say it. If healthy, this is the best basketball starting 5 on one team I've ever seen in my lifetime. Like, this team is absolutely terrifying, especially with the chemistry that they already have together with the core 4. Jalen, when you look at that picture, what does it say to you?
That you haven't seen the Bulls of the 90s? No. That had
yes,
Michael and Scotty and Tony Kukoc and Dennis Rodman? That you weren't paying attention? No. I understand what you're saying, though, because anytime you have 5 All-Stars, it's the first time that it's happened in decades. It's going to be something special. But my favorite thing about Media Day, and fans, please pay attention to this, is how teams try to make sure they take separate pictures based on the status of players on the roster.
Oh,
so it's
definitely.
Like, for the Boston Celtics, you'll get their starting 5. You'll have Kyrie, you'll have Hayward, you have Tatum, you have Brown, you have Horford. And then for the Lakers, you have LeBron and their young big 3. But then they have a separate picture with like Michael Beasley, Rondo, Lance.
Yeah. We're not so sure about that. It's kind of like a wedding photos. It's like, all right, let's get the groomsmen and the bridesmaids, and then the uncle tries to get in there. You're like, no. Like, Gary, hold on. We'll take a picture with you in a second. You sit out for this one. It's exactly like that. I noticed that too. I peeped that too. But when you look at this Warriors team, right, you're looking at 5 of the best basketball players in the NBA on the same team. Negative Jacoby has to say, this can't last. Like, the math just doesn't work. Some of these players are going to end up being free agents. One of those players is Klay Thompson, and Klay Thompson said this when asked about his impending free agency. Quote, "Not really. When guys go into free agency, they're looking for situations like mine. I'm content." What do you think about his potential? I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm content. People go to free agency to look for situations like mine.
Mark my words. His father, Michael Thompson, calls games with the Lakers and still does a great job with us working at ESPN right here in Los Angeles.
Shout out.
It's going to be tough for Klay to turn down the allure of Magic Johnson, Rob Pelinka, and the Los Angeles Lakers, but I'm not going to be the person on wax that's trying to break up the Splash Brothers. They have an opportunity to win 3 straight championships. They already have won 3 overall. They just added Kevin Durant a couple of seasons ago. You just add Boogie this year. He's going to come in off an injury. They will be explosive. But if you're looking for weaknesses, they have opponents as well. And I'm not sure about their bench. I know Andre Iguodala's over there. I know Livingston is over there. But I'm still trying to wait to see who's going to play quality minutes for them up front now that they lost players like David West along with JaVale McGee.
That's a really good point. And there's also another player. You said you didn't want to break up the Splash Brothers, but potentially a different player will break up this core five. A gentleman by the name of, I don't know, Kevin Durant. He was also asked about his plans for next year, and here's what he had to say. Interesting. I wanted to keep my options open and play it season by season and see where it takes me. Jalen, I'm going to read too much into that. You look at these two different answers, and they have different tones. KD's taking it season by season to see where it takes me. What do you read into that?
He's not leaving the Golden State Warriors in the immediate future. It wouldn't be good for his game. It wouldn't be great for his brand. And overall, it wouldn't be great for a guy that's won 2 straight championships and 2 straight finals MVPs. I think he found a home in Golden State. We talk about all of the time who KD could play with. The last time I checked, he plays with Steph Curry, and they are the best dynamic duo currently going in the NBA. These answers sound cute, and media are going to continue to pick those apart, but I don't see over the next couple of years Kevin Durant uprooting himself and leaving the Golden State Warriors.
I mean, I will concede that currently Steph and KD are the best dynamic duo, but that's just because we haven't seen Lance and LeBron together yet. You know what I mean? We just haven't seen them on the court together yet. I mean, give it a couple games, and then we can reevaluate that statement about the best duo in the NBA. Well, KD and Klay Thompson are just two of a long list of impactful free agents that will potentially move teams and change the face of the league next season. Is there any other players that you could potentially see being impactful and moving teams next season?
I hate to be this guy, and there are going to be a lot of media members that try to take credit for what I'm about to say, so I'm going to say it on wax first for the Jalen and Jacoby audience, because you know when you hear it from somewhere else, whether it's the Kawhi news, whether it's about the friction in Minnesota, it's going to be broken news to our taste-making audience. New Orleans, open your ears. Get used to watching Anthony Davis play basketball in your uniform, because this will be the last season he does so. I know everybody saw the news about him joining Clutch Sports over the past couple of days. I am predicting that Anthony Davis ends up in Los Angeles with LeBron James, and they will be another dynamic duo trying to put together a squad to take down, potentially, the Golden State Warriors.
So Anthony Davis has 2 more years before his player option. So what are you saying is going to happen for him to go to the Lakers after this season?
As the Podfather once told me, they're going to exercise his pre-agency. You saw it with Chris Paul. You saw it with Paul George. You saw it with Kawhi Leonard. You're seeing it right now with Jimmy Butler. This time next year, we're going to be talking about how the Lakers are trying to do a deal to acquire Anthony Davis and put him with LeBron James in purple and gold.
Wow, you heard it here first on Jalen and Jacoby. This time next year at Media Day, perhaps Anthony Davis will be wearing a Lakers uniform. Now you guys know me, I'm David Jacoby. I don't really love live music, but I do love live events. I love being in the crowd. I get swept up in the crowd. Anywhere where there's like thousands of excited people around me just gets me pumped. This gets me so pumped. And one thing I found myself doing is using the SeatGeek app just to browse, just to like see what's going on. It's great if you have targeted an event or a concert or something you want to go to, and you've said, I want to get the best value, the best tickets for this event. You can do that, and that's perfect. But one thing I started doing is just browsing, just seeing what's going on around my area, seeing if it's something I can take my kids to, seeing if I can, take my kids somewhere. Jalen, let me tell you what I did.
What'd you do?
You know what's coming to town? Monster Jam. Monster Jam.
Oh, I know Q loves that.
Exactly. My son is obsessed with trucks, and he's obsessed with big trucks and crushing things. And he was just like, I saw that Monster Jam was coming, and I was like, I need to get some Monster Jam tickets for me and Q. So what do? I go to the SeatGeek app, find that Monster Jam is coming to town. And when you go to SeatGeek, you know you're going to get the best value, because what they do is they look at all the multiple ticket sites and they bring you the best deals. And when you get to SeatGeek, some of the deals are in red. Don't buy those ones. Some of them are in green. You buy those ones. It's super simple. You get the best deal. You get guaranteed tickets. And SeatGeek is definitely my go-to app for finding the best deals for any type of ticket, whether you're going to a concert, whether you're going to a sports event, whether you're going to comedy, whether you're going to a Broadway show, whether you're going to the theater, or whether you're going to Monster Jam. And guess what? If you don't have SeatGeek, you download SeatGeek to your phone, and your first purchase, you can get $20 off. Just enter the promo code Jacoby on the SeatGeek app. Download the SeatGeek app to your phone. Browse around, find an event, pick your tickets for the event using their super easy system, and enter the promo code Jacoby, and you get $20 off. I'm going to Monster Jam. Where are you going? By using the SeatGeek app.
Ricky always wanted to play baseball in the majors. He was playing catch before he could walk, practically lived in the batting cages. He was behind home plate more than he was home. And one day, after all that hard work, he found himself walking into a Major League Baseball stadium. After buying a ticket at the front gate, a nosebleed seat obscured by a pole, but he was in there. No, Ricky never did play in the big leagues, but he did switch his car insurance to Geico, proud partner of Major League Baseball, which saved him a lot. So, all in all, things were good.
Jalen Rose, I'm a little tired today because I stayed up for Monday Night Football. Yep, I stayed up past 10 p.m., and it was a wild one. At first, Fitzpatrick, who turned into Fitzmagic, turned back into Pixpatrick. He threw a ton of interceptions in the first half. They were just down by a lot. And then the Steelers were just bowling over people on offense just like that, scoring touchdowns. But then, all of a sudden, we had the Bucs make a furious comeback in the second half. There's Antonio Brown getting into the end zone finally. And then there was a couple interceptions from Ryan Fitzpatrick that ended up losing them the game after a furious comeback. Jalen Rose, one thing that came from this game was really interesting. Ryan Fitzpatrick became the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 400 yards in 3 straight games. I'm going to say it again. The first quarterback in NFL history to throw for over 400 yards in 3 straight games. Just so happens that Jameis Winston was suspended for 3 games. So you had this quarterback that has broken a record for broken a record for success at the quarterback position throwing the football. And you have another quarterback who's your starting quarterback just waiting on the sidelines for the decision. What do you think the Tampa Bay Bucs should do? Start Winston or start Fitzpatrick?
Fitzpatrick also had 3 interceptions to go with those 3 touchdown passes. This is not a quarterback controversy on a short week. They play Thursday night. In their building today, they're going to bring Jameis Winston in. Everybody going to give him dap. It's going to be great to see him back in the building. Ryan Fitzpatrick is their starter for the foreseeable future.
Oh, I like where you're going. So I want you to, you're the head coach, and then I'm James Winston. Tell me how the conversation goes with Winston.
J-Mo, you remember when you came into the office in the preseason and you talked about the remorse that you had for the poor decision you made for groping an Uber driver that cost you 3 games this year, and you predicted that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to light it up?
Yeah, I remember all that,
big fella?
Coach.
He actually lit it up. You're a fortune teller. Oh, man, you got the winning lottery number? Ha, 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 ha. But also, I got to tell you this. Get that clipboard. You're going to be holding it for a while. And so
I'm just so curious of while Jameis Winston's on the sideline, is he rooting for Fitzpatrick to be successful at that position? He's wearing the uniform. I think he secretly wants Fitzpatrick to throw 3 interceptions in the first half, and then he can come in like Baker Mayfield and save the day and put this to bed forever. That's secretly what Jameis Winston wants, but he will never say that to his friends, never say that into a microphone.
I won't name names, but as long as you play sports, and as long as you work in a competitive industry like this, there have been times, whether as a player or a member of the media, I knew people that were giving me dap, giving me pats on the back, but couldn't truly be my friend and weren't really rooting for me because they wanted my spot. Yep. And so for Jameis, that's what I see here. He wants Ryan Fitzpatrick to go out there and throw 5 interceptions in the first quarter, like Nathan Peterman, so that now all of the fans are screaming for him to get in the game. You know how this works. Usually the most popular person in an NFL city is the backup quarterback. And Jameis now is going to be in that position if Ryan Fitzpatrick struggles.
Jalen, you won't name names, but I will. One of those people that gives you pounds, pretends to be your friend, and really just wants you not to succeed so they can have your spot is right here. David Jacoby. Right here. Can't wait till I have my own show. Well, we saw the stiff arm earlier, but I want to look at it again. I mean, I just love stiff arm highlights. It's one of the most exciting plays in football. It's just so disrespectful. On the play, unfortunately, Conti got hurt, but Vance McDonald just tosses him aside to the ground. But it does have to have you thinking, with all this protection of the quarterback, all this roughing the passer controversy, why is the offensive player allowed to put his hand on the other guy's helmet and face mask and throw him violently to the ground, yet you cannot do that the other way around?
On my Teddy P, that looked like another love TKO. For the DB, he's going to be in film sessions with his teammates and literally getting clowned. But I want everybody to make sure that they get the license plate number of the guy that got trucked. They got stiff-armed by McDonald. Here's why.
That's Chris Conti.
He's going to be the exact same player that when somebody's going across the middle, he's going to go for those legs. And so this is what happens in sports. We clown somebody when something happens to them, and we show the footage over and over again. So now that player internalizes that situation, and he's going to be a headhunter now. So I'm going to be interested to see how he responds to everybody trying to tease him after he got clowned by McDonald on that stiff arm.
Well, we hope he gets back healthy, and we'll put a pin in that because sometimes Jalen Rose says things that just happen to come true later. Well, there's a lot of discussion about the roughing the passer penalties, and they played a huge role, especially in the first half of the game last night. And Ben Roethlisberger was asked about it after the game. Let's listen.
You know what? I don't want to criticize officiating, especially when you're talking about a penalty that helps the quarterback out. But, you know, I was surprised with the first one. The second one I thought was legit. He hit me in the helmet. You know, it was kind of like hearing that loud ring when your helmet gets hit. But there sure are a lot of them. I can't imagine the fans at home are enjoying it too much.
Interesting point at the end there. I can't imagine the fans at home are enjoying it too much. Now let's just talk about impartial fans because you know, diehards just like it when it works out for their team. But do you think that this new penalty and the way it's being enforced is making football less fun for the fans at home to watch?
I was one of those people watching the game and felt like there were too many roughing the passer penalties. I feel like Clay Matthews feels as well. It's one thing to protect the quarterback, and I understand that they are the people, in theory, that the NFL has propped up and made them the position that people wants to see, and rightfully so. We saw what happened with the Green Bay Packers last year when they lost Aaron Rodgers. You lose a franchise quarterback, it can be detrimental to the future of your squad. I get it. But they're actually playing something called tackle football. And let's listen to this geometry. If I'm running as fast as I can to hit somebody as hard as I can, and the play's not over until that player hits the ground, there's no clean way for me to land and not land on them. It just physically cannot happen.
It's a great point. I'm not sure it's geometry, but it's a great point. And it also brings us to our next topic, which physics is right. Good job, Jalen. Brings us to our next topic, which is exactly what happened to Miami Dolphins defensive end William Hayes. He was, as you said, going as hard as he could, going to tackle a quarterback as much as he could. And his head coach Adam Gase is saying that in his mind, he thought about avoiding the roughing the passer penalty, and the result was a torn ACL. With this wrinkle that there are claims that defensive ends are now adjusting the way they approach the game and resulting in injury. Does that change the way you look at the rule?
I feel the exact same way. And I feel bad for William Hayes. And unfortunately for him, people don't look at his position as the glorified position like we do quarterbacks. But at the same time, as I was watching the game, I was thinking the 15-yard penalty versus injuring the player, that's something I'll take. And so that's what you're actually trying to do. You're trying to grab the player, hold their arm, so when they fall, you bust that shoulder, you hope they hit their head. Like, that's what this is actually all about. So for him to get injured, unfortunately, trying to avoid a flag means that you still got to go full throttle. And if they throw the flag, they just throw the flag.
Right now, it's time for News That Matters. Jalen Rose, it's the holiday season.
Holiday.
About who my kids are going to be for Halloween, but that's not the news that matters. The news that matters is this Halloween-themed challenge at Six Flags in St. Louis. They are taking 6 people to see if they can stay in a coffin for 30 hours. What? And if you are successful in staying in a coffin for 30 hours, you win $300? $300 is all they're offering. And if more than one person stays in for the full 30 hours, they do a raffle to get a chance at $300. What? Now, there's a lot of caveats to this. They get bathroom breaks, they get snacks, there's a phone charger in there so you can be on Instagram or whatever the whole time, watching Netflix or whatever. But Jalen Rose brings up this question. What's your number? What is your number? How much money would you have to be paid to stay in a coffin for 30 hours?
Fam, I'm not getting in a coffin. Ain't no number for that one.
There's no number.
I don't play.
So you're lying. You're lying to the people. Don't lie to the people. I do not like it when you lie to the people, Jalen Rose. There's a number.
David Jacoby, that's why this is cultural. Because there's a number that you would consider getting in a coffin for 30 hours. And there is no number that I will consider getting in a coffin for 30 seconds.
Jalen Rose, you realize, let's say, I'll put my number at, after taxes, $100,000. I sit in the coffin, I get bathroom breaks, I get snacks, and I get to catch up from episode 1, season 1 of Power all the way through. Light work. Please, that's nothing. Okay, bring a coffin in. I'll get in the coffin right now. I'll do tomorrow's show from a coffin. Light work. So you're trying to tell me if I had duffel bags full of $5 million cash, you wouldn't spend 30 hours in a coffin?
I'm claustrophobic. I wouldn't be able to. This is not even about me wanting to. I'd be kicking and screaming. Please! I'm not able to do it. So that's what I mean. It's just physically impossible for me to be able to do something like this. And I guarantee you, if we put the pictures of all of those 6 people up, they look a lot more like you than they look like me. Please believe me.
I believe you.
Did you know ADT can design and install a smart home just for you? A new smart home at your service, customized for your lifestyle. ADT professionals can even show you how to use your new smart home features. Now, that's what I call warm-up service. It's all controlled from the ADT app or the sound of your voice and backed by 24/7 protection. Visit ADT.com/smart to learn more about how ADT can help keep your home safe and smart.
Jalen Rose, I have some Pistons news. There hasn't been a lot of great news about the Pistons recently, let's be honest. Well, Andre Drummond was asked about the three-point shot that he was developing this summer. And here's what he had to say, and I quote Andre Drummond, your center. There are going to be an opportunity threes. Dwayne Casey has given me the green light to shoot it, and if somebody backs off me, I'm going to shoot it. Jalen Rose, you are a lifelong Pistons fan. Do you support this offensive strategy from Dwayne Casey and the Pistons?
If he's going to make them, I do. One of the things that people underestimate about Andre Drummond, JRLA supporter, my little brother, is that he has terrific ball skills. He's a good passer from the high post, in dribble handoff situations, backdoor cuts, finding teammates and getting them buckets and easy shots. He has a handle that you probably would surprise a lot of people based on his size and his bulk. He has soft hands. So for a guy to improve at the free throw line, you want him to continue to improve his range. And if somebody gonna fall back off of you, you shoot it. Now here's how that works. Once you start to miss them in the first month of the season or make them, you continue. If they're not going in, then you stop. And then you try to put it in your game next year.
Over, under, how many threes does Andre Drummond shoot this season?
I say, let me see, 82. I say he shoots one a game, 82.
What? Oh, I'm going with 9. Like actually 9, not 90, 9.
How about this?
We'll see who's right.
Who shoots more threes this year, Andre Drummond or Ben Simmons?
Ben Simmons.
What? No way.
Moving on, let's take a look at these two photos from Media Day next to each other. Just look at these for a second.
Dope.
On the left, Boston Celtics, potential starting 5.
Dope.
On the right, the Warriors, potential starting 5. Just look at that. Jalen, if these two teams were to play a 7-game series in the NBA Finals, who would you favor?
I'm going to favor the Warriors, but I tell you, the Boston Celtics are right there, and it won't be a sweep. And here's something I want everybody to pay attention to. Don't sleep on the fact that those are the only two teams that took media day photos with starting fives. Nobody else did that. And there's a reason why they did.
We don't know who our starting five is. And the Rockets didn't want to tell Carmelo he's not in it. That would just be real awkward. The Rockets were like, let's do a starting. The photographer's like, let's do a starting five photo. Dale Moore, Mike D'Antoni get out there like, no. We're good. Let's do like the backcourt, and then we'll do the front court. Like we don't need a starting five photo. We're all starters.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who starts. It only matters who finishes.
Jalen Rose, it's time for one of our signature segments. It's time for Soft Move or Boss Move. Well, yesterday was NBA Media Day, and, friends and colleagues got together for the first time after all their time off, and Joel Embiid saw Dario Saric, teammate and friend, and it got really awkward really fast. Let's listen.
It's cool.
You should have congrats me on the final game. You should have congrats me. You skipped that.
No, you go all summer. You don't call. You don't text. You disappear. You didn't even answer your text. I texted you.
I don't think Joel Embiid was kidding there. I don't think he was kidding at all. He's usually funny, but he was not joking. So, it begs the question. Guilting your friends for not texting you back and ghosting you all summer. Soft move or boss move?
That's a boss move, because when I hit you up, holler back at me, especially if you call yourself my friend. And you know what I don't like? Especially if it's one of your friends or family members or somebody you close to, that when you text them and then all of a sudden they're posting on social media. Like, you can't text me back, but you can post on IG, Facebook, or Twitter. So for me,
Jalen,
I'm like Joel Embiid with this one.
Jalen, you're like Joel Embiid with this one? You're going to speak into a microphone and be like, I always text back. I always pick up calls. I'm easy to get in touch with. Is that the stance? It's disrespectful to not answer people's texts and calls? Is that what you're saying?
Are you the same dude as my brother that called himself trying to train me? That's the word I'm going to use. Try to train me into not leaving you voicemails. It's like, yes. I don't listen to voicemails. So wherever you ever left on the voicemail, it's irrelevant. No, if I call you and you don't pick up, that means you're tied up. Therefore, I'm going to leave a voicemail based on what's on my mind to discuss with you so I don't forget when we finally talk.
To be fair, I haven't picked up like your last 6 calls. So we'll call this one a truce. Moving on. Enes Kanter was at Knicks Media Day wearing the new Knicks uniform, excited about the new Knicks rookies and the potential of KP coming back and the new head coach. And he got real excited when they asked him about the playoffs. Let's listen.
When I think about playoffs, my nipples get hurt. I'm sorry.
What? Wait. Soft move or boss move? Saying when you think about the playoffs, your nipples get hard.
Well, you talk a lot about your nipples, but I think that this is a soft move because Enes, I said this before he went to the Knicks. By the way, predicted on this program that he would end up with the Knicks, by the way. When you get in front of cameras and microphones and you have a really good personality like he does, sometimes he tried to make sure he forces funny. And that was one of those cases, in my opinion.
Wait. What? Why you got? Wait. Why are you taking shots at me here?
I didn't take a shot at you.
Yeah, you did. You just took a shot at me. You're telling me that force funny.
You taught me a word about nipples that I didn't even know. What was that word? What's the word?
Let's move on. Now I'm upset.
Let's move on. What'd you call it?
Let's move on. You know what? Let's move on.
What's that term you use? Chafing. You talk about that a lot.
Yeah, I ran a marathon. Sorry, it's very important. My health is important to me. I ran a marathon for your school, by the way.
You did. God. You're a terrific donor of the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy.
I always support the Jalen Rose
Always give back to the community.
I think I owe you a check, though, for this year. Let's be honest. Jimmy G. You know Jimmy G. He may or may not have dated a woman who's prominent on social media named Alexandra King. Now, obviously, Jimmy G suffered a season-ending tragic injury this week. What did Alexandra King do? She took to Twitter and tweeted, quote, karma. That's actually on Instagram. That's what she did with a smiley face. Jalen Rose, celebrating your ex's injury. Soft move or boss move?
This is a tough one because initially.
No.
Let me tell you why.
No.
So let me answer your question. He got paid $137 million. So I'm trying to balance off the fact that he may only miss one season. In my world, I got to call it a soft move. I can't front. But there's a but to this. When I first saw it, I was like, that was mean. That was nasty. That was rude. But the thing you don't know about relationships is what he did to hurt her. What he did to disappoint her. What he probably did to break her heart. And I did a little more reading about this story, about how they were kissing, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, he was he was out with a porn star in Los Angeles right after the fact. And then when somebody stuck a microphone to his face to ask him about his relationship with her, he acted like he didn't know what they were talking about. So in her world, I understand why she wanted to do this, but I don't believe in celebrating somebody's pain, so I have to call this a soft move.
First of all, I love that this is the topic that you did the research on for this show. Second of all, I think it's a soft move because you can't invoke karma when celebrating someone else's injury. It just sets you up for bad things to happen moving forward. We're going to move forward. Our last soft move,
I will say this. He's played 10 games, and due to injury, he's going to miss a lot more games than that between the Patriots and the San Francisco 49ers. I'm hoping, because right now it's not looking so good, that this doesn't go down as one of the worst signings in the history of the NFL, giving him that level of finance after only a handful of starts.
Our final soft move or boss move comes from our voicemail line. If you call 98580 Jalen, you can leave us a voicemail and put it on the show just like this.
Yo, what up? This is Nick from Stack. Soft move or boss move? Pick intentional fouling and pick up ball. All right, keep giving the people what they want. Love
Intentionally fouling during a pickup game. Soft move or boss move?
You can try to bring the funk. It may be point game, and you want to do an intentional foul. That's cool. But then I'm going to pop the trunk. Then I'm going to pop the trunk. How about that? So
my thing is point game, anything is fair. During point game, and it's all fair during point game. Even if it's close to point game, nah. But if it's point game, I will foul you, but I'll apologize about it after the fact.
Let me tell you the difference.
I just did it because it was point game.
Let me tell you the difference between those that have played basketball at an elite level versus those that have not. The one thing you are not trying to do is hit that floor. In no way, shape, or form, when you're not being paid to play and there are not officials out there, there aren't cameras recording everything that happened, you are not trying to hit that floor. Soft move.
It is Tuesday. That means tomorrow is Women's Wednesday. We're calling it Women's Wednesday tomorrow. We need ladies to call in 98580 Jalen to leave us voicemails. You can also tweet at Jalen and Jacoby on Twitter. Ladies, we need to hear from you. We're trying to build a whole segment for you for the TV show just based on your calls. So come through for us and we'll come through for you, ladies. Jalen.
What up, though?
You said something on the television program that was very spicy. Very spicy. One of those things that you say on a random Jalen and Jacoby that ends up everyone else talks about 3 months later because Woj tweeted about it or whatever. But you said that this will be Anthony Davis's last season in a New Orleans Pelican uniform. The same Anthony Davis that just signed an extension. The same Anthony Davis that said he wants to spend his whole career in New Orleans. The same Anthony Davis that gets celebrated for signing that extension and trying to make it with the Pelicans. Why do you think this will be his last season?
He's going to exercise his pre-agency right after this year. He's going to go to the Pelicans and be like, it was good, fellas. Nice run. Drew Holiday's my brother. I hate to leave him, but I'm with Clutch Sports now. LeBron James is in Los Angeles, and you know I can't turn down Magic Johnson and the opportunity to team up with the King to see if we could combat what's happening in the West with a dynasty in the making like the Golden State Warriors and Houston, who's on the uprise.
Who's the best big man that LeBron James has played with. And you can't say Shaq because at that time, Shaq wasn't Shaq.
Kevin Love.
Kevin Love is
Chris
probably
Bosh.
it. I mean, I guess we're calling Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh doesn't feel like a big man.
He is,
Neither
though.
does Kevin Love. But I've never seen LeBron paired up with like a dominant center. You know what I mean? I've never seen him like paired up with like a 7-footer.
Chris Bosh is the answer to the question. Kevin Love is second. Anthony Davis is just in a different stratosphere based on his talent. Yep. A 7-footer that can shoot the three, can guard multiple positions, even late in the shot clock, get down in the stance and keep point guards from penetrating. A terrific shot blocker, going to be amongst the league leaders in rebounds as well. He runs the floor like a gazelle. I think Anthony Davis is just a game-changing player. He's one of the handful of best players in the entire game, something that Chris Bosh and or Kevin Love never was.
I mean, this is an era. People say, oh, small ball, small ball, small ball. We do live in an era where there are some very talented centers. I mean, I'll probably miss some, but Jokic and Karl-Anthony Towns and Kristaps Porzingis when healthy, and obviously Boogie Cousins. You know, DeAndre Jordan's a different type of player, doesn't bring the dynamic things on the offensive end that those other players do. But there are some centers out there, but I would put Anthony Davis above everybody that I mentioned.
No
Every
doubt.
single person that I mentioned because of what he does on both sides of the floor. Yep. And he is, it's not just like a Jimmy Butler's available for a trade situation. Anthony Davis will change your franchise if he moves to your team.
Correct.
Very interesting nugget you dropped on the pod today. Make sure you always listen to Jalen and Jacoby, where you get the news first, even before he gets on the ticker, because Jalen doesn't want to give up his sources. That's really the story.
No doubt.
Tell me what happened when you first tried to get on the ticker.
Well, let me tell you, for those that don't know, when you work at a professional multimedia organization conglomerate like the worldwide leader, in order to put your information at the bottom of the ticker, you got to be the opposite of Tom Brady with the phone. You got to share.
Mm-hmm.
You got to allow somebody in the newsroom to actually look at your phone and or your messages to validate them. And I quickly was like, I'll never be at the bottom of the ticker.
Nope. Yeah, see, here's what I would do. And again, like I can get this past ESPN. I'll be like, Jalen, text me, we're going to trade Anthony Davis. And then I'll just change the contact name. You know what I mean? I'll just change the contact name and be like, guys.
Alvin Gentry.
Yeah, be like, Al Gentry just texted me. It's like, we need a second source. I'm like, cool. Jalen, text me. We're thinking about trading Anthony Davis. And then I'll just change it again to the owner's name. That's what I'll do. That's light work. Everybody knows that trick. You ever use that trick?
Never.
Oh, yeah, it's a fun trick. It's a fun trick. You can hurt feelings that way, though. That's like back in the day on Twitter, I used to write RT, and then someone's handle and then what they said. Those are evil things to do. Don't forget, ladies, we need you to call 985-80-JALEN. Leave us some voicemails. We'll put you on the television show tomorrow. Today, we're taking all callers on the podcast like this one.
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby, what's up? It's your boy Jim calling from the 412 Pittsburgh. Shout out Pittsburgh. Shout out Reg. Hey, listen, I work in a cubicle. I got to be quiet because I'm on my work phone, and somebody came in with some McDonald's, man, and I can smell it, but I don't know who has it. So, soft move or boss move, coming into your job with McDonald's when you work in a cubicle. Peace.
My favorite caller. Make sure that person continues to call. We had the Mad Caller. We got Big Crown.
We got Cubicle Jim.
Matthias. We got so many co-producers of this program. I want the Whisperer to continue to be a featured member of our team.
Have Cubicle Jim call back. And big shout to Cubicle Jim. I know Reggie put him on the phone because he's whispering. The question's not that good, but we'll take it anyways because he's whispering from the cubicle.
Right.
So soft move or boss move, bringing McDonald's when you're at a cubicle. Now, it opens up a larger conversations about smelly foods at work.
Right.
Because there was a place in Los Angeles by us that had a fish grill. It was a Brazilian place. I think it was called the Wood Spoon. And they had this nice fish grill trying to be healthy. They'll grill up some fish for you, and they'll put it with some rice and beans. They had some weird purple potato soup I liked. And it was a stinky meal. And I would sit down and eat it, and immediately, like meerkats, everyone would pop up from their cubicles and look over towards me like, what are you doing? What are you eating? Pungent lunches at work in a close environment, soft move or boss move.
Eating whatever I want to eat anytime I get ready is a boss move.
Yep.
I don't care if I'm at work. If I purchased it, it's mine. mind your business and let me cook.
How do you handle flatulence in a cubicle environment?
Flatulence, that means farting?
Yes.
Spray. Like when you work in tight quarters, it's like in the bathroom. Somebody got to have some spray available, that's all. Everybody's adults. I understand that it's going to happen, but you got to have some spray available because for those that don't know, your flatulence can't be controlled by your diet. I'm talking about pooping.
Oh, okay.
So for somebody like me who understands dairy and beef and pork makes me feel that way, I don't eat it a lot. I don't drink it a lot.
We have some very important news for the people. It's going to make you very happy. One thing that Jalen always wants to do is give people Jalen and Jacoby t-shirts, right? Jalen, behind the scenes, Jalen's talking about we don't have enough merch. We need to send people this. We need to send people a t-shirt. So just listen to this, Jalen Rose. We took it action. I know you think that the staff doesn't listen to your suggestions because generally we don't, but you have a good suggestion with the t-shirt.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
There is an exclusive opportunity for you to get Jalen and Jacoby gear. We are partnering with Creative Allies to create an exclusive t-shirt designed by our listeners to Jalen and Jacoby. This is a competition where you design a Jalen and Jacoby t-shirt and you send it in, and the winner, whose ever t-shirt design we pick, gets $500 in cash in a signed shirt with the winning design. To submit your design, go to jalen.creativeallies.com. If you can't spell Creative Allies, maybe this contest is not for you. You get the details. Submit your designs by September 30th. That's soon. That's sooner than you think. We're trying to get this ready for the NBA season, which means there's only 10 days for you to submit your design. Go to jalen.creativeallies.com. If you're not creative but love the show, don't worry. You can get to vote on your favorite designs too and help us pick the winner. So go to jalen.creativeallies.com and get involved. And here's the thing. We're not just going to make one t-shirt and give it to the winner. We're going to make tons of t-shirts to give out to all of our supporters. We want you to rock Jacoby merch for free. Go to jalen.creativeallies.com, design a t-shirt. You can get $500 and you can get gear. And we're going to give lots of Jalen and Jacoby gear out in the near future. Jalen Rose, your thoughts?
That was the longest public service announcement in the history of this program.
You know what? I don't appreciate that, Mr. Rose.
Man.
You know what? Do you know how much time you spend complaining about we don't give t-shirts to the people? We're trying to give t-shirts to the people. I get a text. I try to give the information to the people so they can get involved. And then what do? You complain about it. For real. Honestly, you know what? I'm shutting down the contest.
How about this? If you want to give t-shirts to the people, guess what you can actually do? Give t-shirts to the people and not ask it for anything in return, except support the program. How about that?
Phase 2. Sorry if we want to get our creative listeners involved and give away money along with merch. Sorry if that's what we want to do. Sorry if there's a ton of emails and planning and plotting. There's multiple people in different departments across the network working on this. And then I get the text. I get a text from Harlan. I get a text from Harlan that says, hey, can you read this? I didn't have time to read it over. Just got the text. So what I do? I did what a professional does. Follow instructions. I'm coachable. I listen to my producers, unlike you, and I work with them. I'm trying to get t-shirts on the people. And what do? Complain. That's so typical, Jalen.
How about
I thought you were better than this.
It's about to be winter time. You can at least give them a hoodie. Number one. Number two, or a zip up or something like that. Who? We on the East Coast doing our show 95% of the time. Who gonna wear a t-shirt in October through March?
You wear t-shirts under the hoodie, you wear t-shirts to the gym, you wear t-shirts to sleep, and you wear t-shirts after March because you keep this t-shirt forever. But everybody has that one friend that's always part of the problem and never part of the solution. Everybody has that one friend that just points at what needs to be fixed and what needs to be fixed, what needs to be different, but it's never part of the solution. And then when you present a solution, what does that friend do? They point out the problem with the solution. That's you, Jalen. You're that friend.
Well,
just look in the mirror and say, I'm the problem person, not the solution person.
I try to be more socially active as it relates to the internet and my handles, Jalen versus everybody on IG and at Jalen Rose, because Kayla Johnson forces me to do so.
Now you're
and she's the
promoting
best.
your own Twitter handle, dog? Like,
But
I
have to say this. The first time I heard about this promotion was yesterday on Twitter, and I came front. I love everybody. I love.
Don't say whatever you're about to say. Whenever Jalen says something nice, whenever he tells you he loves you, this comes next.
But I felt like it was whack. I did.
I'm ending the podcast right now. You're a disappointing partner.
Here's
you're
why.
a disappointing part of this group, and you're a bad teammate, and we got to find a replacement for you. You know what? You're not on the show tomorrow. You're off
How
the show
about
tomorrow.
this? We're a
You're off the show tomorrow.
multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. We don't have nobody to do us a logo?
Jalen Rose is suspended tomorrow from Jalen and Jacoby. Ryan Russillo will be in for Jalen. Really excited about this guest. We'll be back tomorrow without Jalen. Why, Reg?
Done. We're not done. We're not done. Got to give the people time. Give people what they want.
They my little guys. I love them.